For a lot of people, the term random number might sound a bit obscure, but it is a mathematical capability that has at least two good uses for wide applicability in Excel. One might be in the following situation. You might have a database. Now, it could be about people, it might be about inventory, it might be about sales. Here and there in certain kinds of lists, you want to randomize the order. Maybe you have a certain primitive way of spot checking some data, your own idea of quality control. How do we take this list and randomize it? Either add an empty column on the right-hand side or left side, doesn't make any difference. And even though that doesn't say random, I'm just going to type in random here just for indicator here. We're going to be putting in a random number here that will actually allow us to sort. So one function is called equal rand. It's one of those functions that has parentheses but nothing between them, so we need only type the left one. We can press Control-Enter here. It might look like that. We don't care what it looks like, really. Double-click the lower right-hand corner. If we were to see this, we could press comma if we wanted to. That's not critical. But this function simply generates a random number between 0 and 1. If we click anywhere in here, it's to the right of our data here. We'll simply, for a quick sort, click the Data tab, AZ. We've randomized this list. It is in no particular order at all. And although I probably wouldn't imagine doing this a whole lot with a list of this type, here and there it makes good sense to randomize the order of a list. So that's one use of a function called rand. Now, if you need to create sample data, I suspect I do this more than a lot of people, but we might want to be testing out some formulas. We might want to be testing out some data. Maybe what we'd like to have here are some salaries or any kind of number you might imagine. If you want to generate whole numbers, and you could do this for a whole cluster of cells at once, you want to type equal rand between. Now with any function, if you start to type it and you see the pop-up list, if you see it here, you can certainly click it and press tab. There we go. And now what? I want a bunch of random numbers here. I'm thinking of salaries, so I've got a group of them here starting at 30,000, comma, as high as 80,000 in this list. Fine. That's it. Enter. Or in the case here, if we want this to go into multiple cells, Control-Enter. So I've got a bunch of random salaries. The other thing about this that might fool you, though, if you were to click somewhere and maybe you start putting in your headings or something like that, you know, maybe this is for a certain city or whatever. As I press Enter, watch these numbers. They all got regenerated. So if you create random numbers this way and want to use them for your sample data or whatever, right after, or actually you don't have to do it right after, but at some point here you might want to freeze these numbers. And a good quick way to do this is to use one of our top 10 tips where we simply take this data and with the right mouse button drag any edge into another column and then right back on top of it and copy here as values only. So we've turned these into pure values. Here and there, when you need to create random numbers, whole numbers, you can easily do this with the function called rand between.